Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. Christmas time, you know what that means. It's gifts for woodworkers. I'm going to do this a little bit different than some people, but probably pretty much what you've seen on several other sites. I have 13 items out here, and what I want to tell you first and foremost is none of this is sponsored. All 13 of these items I purchased with my own money. I own them. You've seen me use them in the last year in my videos, and that's why I'm recommending them, because I actually use them and I like them. I've got gifts under $10 up to about 20, which was the first group we're going to start on. That's your stocking stuffer, Secret Santa, things like that. You know, if you have somebody at work that's a woodworker, you get them in the Secret Santa. There's 3 or 4 things here that I think they'll like. Got a few things here in the mid-price range, you know, $50 or so for, I don't know, maybe brothers, something like that. I don't know how you guys do your gifts these days. And then there's a couple of things here in the higher end category for maybe your significant other who's a woodworker or something, you know, in the $80 to $124 range. But we're covering the whole gamut here. So let's get right to it. I'm going to start at the stocking stuffer end down here. I'm going to start with something called the Glue Bot. This is available at Amazon. I think you can also get it at Woodcraft. I'm going to put links down below for all of these. Some of them are Amazon. If they're Amazon, they are affiliate links. You know, there's a little bit there for me if you do that. You know, a couple pennies off of this thing. If it's not Amazon, it's, you know, where I found it. There's no affiliates for the non-Amazon links, but there's a link for everything for you to find these. This is an excellent tool. I don't know how many times you guys have seen me fight with a regular glue bottle up here and trying to open it and then having to grab pliers and peel the crap out of here. You know, that's a pain in the butt. This gravity fed, the glue comes back down in and it's just ready to go. You can feed this like this and squeeze and the glue will come out. You know, it's just a great invention. This thing costs $7.03. It's an excellent thing for $7. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know that if you've seen me use this year. Main reason, it lives in my basement. Now that it's up here, it's staying up here. So you'll see it in the future. Moving on, you've seen me use this. This is the Swanson Speed Square. If you hear, it's the, I'm assuming this is aluminum, but I don't really know. It's some form of metal, not the plastic one. How do you like the hat? Don't go with the plastic ones. The plastic ones are good for like using outside to cut 2x4s. This is good enough to draw a straight line on a board. It works for that. If you're a woodworker just starting at the price of $8.97, this is something that they could really use. Moving on, the next tool you would use with that straight edge is the Stanley 10-049 knife. This is called a pocket knife. I call it a marking knife. As you know, Paul Sellers touts a version of this that's available in the UK. It's a little bit different than the one we get here. The combination of the Swanson Square and the knife allows you to make very accurate marking lines. A marking knife is much better than a pencil when you're getting to fine woodworking. This line will be much finer than even your smallest mechanical pencils. And another caveat is you can take and put a chisel into the marked line and register it in there, and you know you're on it. You don't know if you're on the lead of a pencil properly. So at $10.98, it's a great little gift, fits in the stocking nicely, and it's sharpenable. And if you do happen to break the blade, you can buy a replacement blade for these. Moving on, I know you've heard me talk about this tape measure before. This is called the lever lock system by Stanley. And in one of my videos, I actually said if I could find a bigger one, I'd buy it. The reason I like the lever lock is it works like this. You pull it out, it stays out. You push the button to bring it back in, which is kind of opposite how every other tape measure works. You pull it out, it goes back in. You want it to stay out, you got to hold it out. This is just so much more intuitive to me that it's amazing. I don't know why everybody doesn't make one like this. I love this idea. This is the 12-foot one, and it's a 1/2-inch tape. I would prefer a wider one. The link I put down is for the 16-foot tape that is 3/4 of an inch wide. Gives you a little bit more size on the numbers to read. They make them in 12, 16, and 25. The link is there to see them all. So, moving on. the Estwing rubber mallet. I've used this in several videos. It is a pretty darn good rubber mallet. The rubber faces obviously don't mar the wood. If you're trying to just adjust something, you get something a little out of place, you can give it a good whack. Sorry, that probably rang through pretty hard through this microphone right here. I know that the yellow and the red means something. It feels like your red is a little softer. To be honest with you, I just pick it up and hit with it. It doesn't matter which side you hit with. It's it's a good tool to enforce things when you have to without marring the wood. Moving on, my favorite saw. Oh, the Estwing, by the way, the hammer is $14.78. Next up is the shark saw. They call this thing a dowel dovetail detail saw. It's model 01-2204. It's not a flush cut saw. It does have a very small set. You can flush trim with it. It's just a great go-to saw when you just got to make one quick cut on obviously something that's not huge. I don't know how many times I've just looked over there and my saws are just out of reach, the microphone's in the way, whatever, and I just got to make one cut on like a 1x3. I just grab this thing, it hangs right here and just, it cuts. It's great. Plus it does do all the little detail work that it's really made for. It's an excellent investment at $18.36. There are replacement blades for this too. This is not a sharpenable saw. When this wears out, you just take the little metal thing out, you unscrew this here, you buy another blade for it's probably about 2/3 of what the whole saw costs. This little plastic handle is not that much, but it's cheaper than buying the whole saw. Moving on, I'm kind of going in order here, but these clamps are actually the cheapest thing on the list, but I'm going to recommend you get these in packs of 4. You know I love these. These are the Harbor Freight F clamps. I put a link down below to Harbor Freight's online store in case you don't have a Harbor Freight local to you. I've done several videos on how to shop at Harbor Freight and use coupons to get better deals. But these things come in 6-inch, 12-inch, 18-inch, and 24-inch lengths. I would recommend 4 18-inch if you were buying a gift for a woodworker. There is not a woodworker on the planet that would not be happy to get 4 18-inch Harbor Freight clamps. That's going to cost you just under 20 bucks, so that's a great deal, or right at 20 bucks. If you don't have a Harbor Freight around and you just want to shop on Amazon and clamps are the way you want to go, these little Irwin quick grip clamps, these things are awesome. They don't have the clamping power that these have, but to be honest with you, a lot of people over clamp. Once you get glue squeeze out, you've clamped hard enough. These will achieve glue squeeze out. And quite frankly, they're awesome little clamps. They're a great savings if you need to you need a spare hand. I don't know how many times I've just used these to hold something for a second. I'm not even gluing it up. It's just a temporary hold. They're great for that. All right, and these a 2-pack of these on Amazon are $16.99, so 17 bucks for 2 of them. Pretty good deal. All right, now we're going to look at a couple of things that are a little bit higher in price. They're kind of outside of the stocking stuffer realm, but they're still, they're not going to break the bank. I think most people can afford these, and these are probably things that woodworkers may or may not buy for themselves, so they'd be nice gifts. And the first one here is the Veritas setup blocks. This is the starter set, and by starter set, what it has is what they call a 1-2-3 block. It's called a 1-2-3 block because it's a precision ground 1-inch by 2-inch by 3-inch block. And then inside of here you have other milled aluminum blocks in 3/4, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/8, and 1/16 inch. And the combination of all of those, if I wanted to do 3 3/4, I would do that. Now I have 3 3/4. If I wanted 3 1/16, I'd take the 16th inch out, and you can put that next to your saw blade and your fence, and you're giving yourself a perfect setup. If I'm doing things in batch on my table saw, if I really need something done to an exact size, these things are invaluable. They let you work more accurately, which is, you know, kind of important as you start doing this more and more. Working accurately is extremely important. Working safe is also extremely important. So, let me give you the price. The setup block is $56.50. So it's a little bit of an investment, but it will make you work more accurately. Safety. We should talk a little bit about safety. If you use a table saw, a jointer, a bandsaw, almost any of your power tools, the gripper, I'm sure you've seen this advertised before. This is probably the best push block ever invented. I should use this more. I don't grab it every time I touch my table saw, and I should. I do use it for certain things, and it is invaluable and it's safe. I mean, it has this little gap here where you can run the blade to basically, nobody ever wants to talk about an injury on a table saw because they're pretty catastrophic, but the gripper is something that can definitely keep you safe. So if you have a significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, who is getting into woodworking, this might be a great gift to get them because it'll keep them safe. And it costs $57.64, which is one very cheap price to pay for a finger, let me tell you. Alright, moving on. Another tool that I use sparingly, but when I use it, it is amazing. I don't think I've used it in a video yet this year. It's the New Concepts fret saw. This thing is just leaps and bounds better made than your fret saws that you get at the big box stores. Now you pay for that. This thing costs $84.23. You can get a coping saw or say a fret saw at the big box store for 15 bucks. It looks like this. Now this is a coping saw, this is a fret saw. You see how much thinner the blade is. You can get a New Concepts coping saw as well. I use this saw when I do dovetails, and I'm going to do a dovetail video here in January or February, and you'll see me use this then. It's amazing for that, but it's kind of a one-trick pony. I don't do too much with it, so it's not a tool to get a beginning woodworker as a gift because they're not going to use it a lot and they're not going to have a lot to do with it. This is more for your seasoned veteran woodworker who maybe is getting into the hand tool side. He's been doing power tools forever, and he's like, boy, I'm going to start doing hand-cut dovetails. That would be a little memo to me to say this might be a tool that person would want. Moving on, another very quality made tool. I have used this in some videos. When you get something like this, and what this is the Woodpecker's Precision Aluminum Square, model 1281. When you get a square made to this kind of precision, it's very noticeable. To be very honest, woodworking is a hobby or a craft or whatever you want to call it. Some people do it as their job. That can be done to very precise tolerances, but at the same time, wood moves. So, do we need a square this precise? Maybe, maybe not. For drawing lines, you probably don't need it. You could get away with the speed square, but when you're setting your tools up, things like that, this is just invaluable. And every time I use this, it just feels good to use it. Again, at $119 for a square. Yeah, it's not something you buy a beginning woodworker. This again is something that would be for that seasoned woodworker who has his complete set of tools and is looking to reach out into a little bit more exacting standards. That's when you look for something like this. I've seen YouTube channels where they have 20 red tools like this hanging on the wall, all woodpeckers, and 20 of these things, it doesn't matter what Woodpeckers makes. It's all quality, but it's all machined aluminum and it's all red, and they're all over $100 just about. So that guy's got a couple grand hanging on his wall there. I don't know what he does with it, but I have one, It's the only woodpecker's tool I own at this time, and it is leaps and bounds better quality, but probably not to start with. Just think of it that way. The last tool on the list is a Veritas apron plane. And I don't have my apron on, but the reason it's called an apron plane because if you had a woodworking apron, they have a pocket right here, and this fits in it. This is an amazing little block plane. It does everything a block plane can do, but it's in a little bit smaller size, which allows you to kind of keep it close, keep it in hand. You know, you can run it on the side of a board and it'll knock the edge off the board. You know, you can run it on the edge of a board. It looks like an 1.25 inch wide blade. I'm guessing they're going by eye, but it's wider than 3/4 of an inch. So if you had a 3/4 inch board and you wanted to plane it, you could. Veritas tools are very well made. Anything that has Veritas written on it, high quality, no doubt about it. I have a lot of block planes. I reach for this one quite a bit. It is kind of my go-to block plane. I really do like it. That's the list. This is $124, which in block plane mode is a little bit more expensive than the Stanley stuff, but you know, you can get a Lee Nelson or a larger size Veritas for a lot more money than that. So it's not a bad price for what you're getting. So there's my list. I hope some of this helps you. I'm guessing some people got here that are not normal woodworkers because you're actually looking for gifts. I hope I helped you with that. And as always, thank you all for watching and have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you.